As an overall experience on a high-end Mac, I'm pretty satisfied with Cyberpunk 2077. It's a well-done port that doesn't step into prior Mac port pitfalls, and it comes packed with plenty of Apple-specific technology to justify its place on the Mac platform. But we do need to test performance a little more thoroughly to see how Apple's Macs fare against popular PC chips in the Windows ecosystem. We have 3 Macs to test today, 2 representing the high end of Apple's current gen offerings, and 1 more characteristic of its lower end parts. The M4 Max and M3 Ultra in the MacBook Pro and Mac Studio are those higher end chips, and the M3 Ultra ends up beating its weaker counterpart by 35% to 41% in these tests across Ultra settings and RT overdrive, falling to about 23% in Ultra RT. Despite its name, the M3 Ultra was actually introduced after the M4 Max and consists of 2 M3 Max chips connected over a silicon interposer. Apple has indicated they may be skipping an Ultra chip for the M4 generation, so this is probably going to stand as the fastest Apple chip available for some time to come. If we add the Mac Mini to the mix, we're logging a performance level that is very good for an iGPU, but is a small fraction of the throughput of the larger chips. The Mac Mini has about a quarter of the M4 Max's GPU resources and comes in at about a quarter of its frame rate in these tests. The M4 Max MacBook Pro's closest PC competition in this game is probably the RTX 4060, which trades blows with it in our raster-only Ultra benchmarking. Though keep in mind the MacBook Pro is managing with a small fraction of the RTX 4060's 115-watt TDP. It's a pretty impressive accomplishment for such a low-power chip operating in the svelte MacBook chassis. These PC settings do appear to match their Mac counterparts, so these should be like-for-like tests. When we dial in ray tracing though, the M4 Max starts to trail the RTX 4060 a little bit. It's not a huge deficit, but it is noticeable. M3 Ultra falls somewhere between the 4060 and 5060 Ti in matched raster tests at Ultra settings, closer to the 4060, but still straddling the 2 cards. But when we throw ray tracing into the mix, it drops a little again and falls into lockstep with the 4060. This is a pretty comfortable level of performance for rasterized Cyberpunk, and I wouldn't expect any real issues with reasonable settings. The Mac Mini proves a bit of a trickier prospect. Measured against a relatively weak modern discrete GPU, the AMD RX 6600, it falls substantially behind. The difference between the cards is actually a bit larger with ray tracing, which perhaps suggests a persistent macOS deficit here, given the relative weakness of RDNA 2's RT acceleration. But compared to something like a Steam Deck, which has integrated graphics and is more in line with the power consumption of an M4 chip, the M4 scores a superior result, with 47% better performance in this raster benchmark. Your point of reference matters a lot here, but compared to most PC integrated graphics, I suspect the M4 will fare just fine. I think the Mac port of Cyberpunk 2077 is quite good. Barring some hard to reproduce initial hitches, it runs smoothly, is easy to understand and configure, and supports key Apple tech like Metal Effects upscaling. This is definitely one of the best AAA ports to macOS I've seen. Evaluating the PC performance comparison is a little tricky. In a lot of benchmarks, higher-end Mac GPU hardware lands somewhere around the 70 series NVIDIA products, sometimes even reaching the 80 series chips. That's especially true in productivity tasks, or in more synthetic rendering tests, but performance in actual retail games tends to slip a little, often closer to lower-end desktop kit and mid-range laptop parts. This is something I hope to test more thoroughly in the near future. But relative to PC parts, power efficiency is highly impressive, and Mac hardware can squeeze into relatively slim enclosures, with minimal thermal load and fan noise. Getting full performance on battery and well over an hour of gaming time under load at max brightness is something the MacBook Pro can deliver, and most gaming laptops can't. Plus, the Mac carries a console-like simplicity that is reassuring. There are no driver updates to contend with, there's no need to worry about some obscure parts combination that could cause headaches, and Macs have high-quality built-in displays that are perfectly calibrated to the needs of the operating system and games. Apple eliminates a lot of the troubleshooting that Windows PC users are probably used to, which leaves more time to actually enjoy software. So I'm relatively pleased with the overall experience of playing Cyberpunk 2077 on Macs. If you have the kit, this is a pretty solid iteration of Cyberpunk. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and press the bell for YouTube notifications. Check out the Patreon at digitalfoundry.net for exclusive and early access content, and to get in touch, use social media. Thanks for watching.